Web Marketing That Works podcast, episode 104, with today's guest, John McIntyre.
Welcome to the Web Marketing That Works podcast. Come behind the scenes of real-life marketing experiments and listen in as amazing guests confess the truth about what really works. Now, here are your hosts, Adam Franklin and Toby Jenkins.
It's Adam Franklin here, and you are listening to the Web Marketing That Works podcast. This is the show for people who love marketing on the web. You'll be taken behind the scenes of real-life marketing experiments, where we look at the good, the bad, and the ugly. We confess what's failed and reveal the truth about what really works. The show is brought to you by our book, which is called Web Marketing That Works. And the gift for you, our valued listener, is the 33 free marketing templates from our book. And you can get your hands on those at bluewiremedia.com.au/book. Okay, so today's guest is a guy called John McIntyre. He's an Aussie, but he has been living around the world doing his email marketing business for a little while now. I've actually followed his podcast. It's called the Email Marketing Podcast, and John is known as the Autoresponder guy. As well as that, he's got a book on Amazon called Email Marketing, 63 Money-Making Insights from the wildly popular McMethod Email Marketing Podcast. So with that introduction, I think we turn over to the show and let John do the talking. My name's Adam Franklin, and I have the pleasure of having John McIntyre on the line. How's things, John?
Things are good, Adam. Things are good. Just getting ready. Well, I was going to say I'm getting ready for bed here because it's late, but it's not really. It's about 6 p.m. How are you doing?
I'm really well. I'm in Brisbane. Whereabouts in the world are you joining us from?
I'm in Colombia right now, South America.
Oh, very nice, very nice. So, John, you're known as the Email Autoresponder guy. Are you able to sort of talk us through, assuming that we're really, really beginners here, what is an autoresponder and why do businesses need one?
I think the way to sort of think about autoresponders or emails in general is just communication. So, if you're trying to close deals, you're going to get on the phone sometimes, you're going to send emails, manually through Gmail or whatever email client you're using. When we talk about autoresponders, we're just talking about automatic emails. And so there's, basic stuff where you put someone on a campaign and you send them out 5 different emails with 5 lessons on how to do X, Y, Z. Or you can get very, very advanced with it where you pick off all these sort of touch points in the customer life cycle and you trigger campaigns based on that. And it's it's really just email marketing too. It's just with different technology, and some people call it life cycle marketing, or it could be marketing automation. There's all sorts of fancy words for it. But yeah, the general idea is it's just communication. You're just hitting people up regularly with good information, not always promotions to get them to buy stuff, click on stuff, get on the phone with you, whatever it is that your call to action is.
Right. So yeah, other words like lead nurturing, that's all the same type of thing, isn't it?
Pretty much. That's the thing. I mean, it's funny seeing this from, on the inside being, someone who's selling these kind of solutions where, so right now, right, I've just launched a business. We're chatting about this for online retailers and email marketing for online retailers. Now, turns out that there's you can call this stuff triggered emails. Another thing is life cycle marketing. It's all really the same thing. Marketing automation, like lead nurturing is sort of more of like a specific set of campaigns, and it's more in the B2B sphere. And the reason for that is an online retailer is probably not going to call someone a lead. They're going to call them a subscriber or a customer or something more like that. But I mean, pretty much they're all the same thing, just in different sort of contexts. And it's all just emails going out, like I said, getting people to do stuff.
Yeah. So what you find typically, isn't it, like if you opt into somebody's website, then you'll put in your name and email address typically, and you'll receive something like a lead magnet, some form of valuable report or PDF, what I call flagship content. That's the exchange up front. And oftentimes people will just leave it there. They'll just put people straight onto their weekly or monthly newsletter. But really there's this huge opportunity to have this automated email autoresponder sequence go out, because then every person that opts into your material then has that they're getting sent a certain number of emails. And I've actually seen it done really quite well in terms of at its most basic, like just a short course. I receive your autoresponder too, John, and just a lesson every couple of days on whatever topic it is that you talk about. That's a very simple way to get started. But do most email platforms allow you to do this, or do you need fancy software, or how does that work?
You don't really need fancy software. That's the thing about this stuff. It's funny because you've got guys in Silicon Valley going on about how software is eating the world. And, there's certainly a lot of people who've made billions of dollars with software. But interestingly, software is becoming commoditized in the sense that, for example, 10 years ago, there's a company that came out with a sort of a pop-up plugin that you would, buy for $200, put it on your website and start, capturing leads that way. And they were one of the only people with that kind of plugin. It was really cool, really fancy. These days, there's got to be at least 50 of the same, of all those different plugins, and they all do very much the same thing. And so I think what's happening is that software is getting cheaper and cheaper to produce with. And I don't know too much about why. It might be the programming languages are more efficient. It might be just that there's more developers on the market, which drives the cost down. But software is getting cheaper. So now, 10 years ago, you might have had to pay $500 a month or $1,000 a month for some of these marketing automation features where you can do more advanced campaigns. But, or go and sign up to something like Infusionsoft or Ontreport or something like that, which are $200-$300 per month. Now you can go and sign up to ActiveCampaign, or I think even MailChimp, which is free, has this. ActiveCampaign, you can get started for about $10 or $15 a month, I think, for the smallest list. And you're going to get all these features, which you can get really, really advanced with it. So I think more and more, the value piece is going to be in the strategy and not just knowing how to use the software from a functional perspective, but knowing what information needs to go where, how to actually set the campaigns up for the maximum impact.
Excellent. What are some of the considerations we need to factor in terms of that information? Like what journey or how should we be guiding our readers towards a buying decision?
Well, I think it starts, before you even start writing emails, it goes back to understanding higher level concepts about your audience. Now, what I mean by that is that you can split up your sort of sales funnel into as many different segments as you want. But just for simplicity's sake, let's say you've got people at the top of the funnel, people in the middle, and people at the bottom. Another way to think about this would be cold, warm, and hot leads, cold, warm, and hot people. Now, an example of a hot lead is get on the phone call and talk with me. And this is a classic thing that consultants are going to do. Let's get on the phone. Let's talk about your website. Let's talk about something. The problem is, though, if you that's an offer that's suited to a hot lead. If you try and make that same offer to a cold lead who doesn't know who you are, doesn't know what you do, might not even know that his website sucks, even if it does, he just might not know it. And so there's no way he's going to get on the phone with you. So, before you can sort of really think about using email, there's going to be value in figuring out the people that are joining your data, where they're coming from, understanding, are they cold, are they warm, are they hot? So if they've bought a product for $7, for example, or downloaded a free report, which, probably happens, happens a lot with consultants, right? A white paper, a free report, special report, whatever it is, they sign up. Now they're warm. They know who you are. They know a bit about what you do. Now they're really just evaluating, number one, is this problem worth paying to solve right now? Like, is it an urgent, big problem? Because if it's not, they won't do anything. And if it is worth solving, are you the right person or the right company to use? Now that's at your warm stage. So you get warm, and then once they're warm, then you can start to make, once they're hot really, that's when you can start to make these offers like, let's get on the phone, let's have a chat, blah, blah, blah. Then you've got your cold leads, which these are people who've never heard of you. So you've got these three different groups. The cold people, they're going to be best suited to just content for the most part. Stuff that educates them, stuff that's helpful, stuff that doesn't require them to opt in or sign up for anything. In the middle, you've got warm. They're going to be best suited with a webinar, an ebook, a special report. And at the bottom, you're going to be best suited making, buy this product for a few $100s, get on the phone with me and let's have a chat about your website. And then so when it comes to setting up the email marketing side of things, once you understand those, the sort of the top, middle, bottom of the funnel concept, you can then, create different lists in your email marketing software to send the emails back there. And the way to think about it is the emails, you could think of it as a return path, so that when someone drops out of your sales funnel, you use email to bring them right back. And an example of this is you have a landing page, for example, and you're offering a special report. Someone signs up, gives you their email address, and you give them the special report on the next page. The problem is, and you might even have a link on that page to book a phone call with you. The problem is, number one, you don't even know if anyone's actually read that special report. And number two, you don't really know if they've even clicked that link yet. So what we can do is you can say someone signs up, instead of giving it to them immediately, send it to them in an email and tell them to go check their email. This means that then we can track them with the email. We can say if they open the email and they click the link, well, then they've put their hand up. Then we can assume that, for example, that they've read the PDF. If they don't click it, we can just keep sending them emails saying, hey, you haven't read this PDF yet. And then once they've read the PDF, then they go on the campaign where it's like read the PDF but didn't book a call. And then when they click book a call, then they go into the book a call but didn't actually reserve a call campaign. because they might click book a call, but then they get to the next page and they see your calendar and they drop off for whatever reason. And so you can set up this, and like I said, you can do this with ActiveCampaign for $20 a month. MailChimp might even support this too for free. You're going to be able to bring people back at all the different points which they're going to drop off within that sales funnel. So does that make sense?
That does. That's really powerful stuff. And so this can all happen automatically. You write the sequence, you write the emails, you program the sequence, you make sure the tagging and stuff's working properly. But I love it how you're just guiding people back. If they fall off the desired path that you're trying to take them on, you gently nurture them and guide them back onto the path to becoming a customer. I love it. I think that's really cool.
I was say, and then you can bundle in, or you got retargeting that you're going to bring in as well. And it's just thinking, I mean, some people think that, you're going to make them walk through that funnel really slowly. It's the way to think about it is give people the opportunity to move through that sales process or that sales funnel as fast as they want. So on the blog post that you show them first, make sure that there's a link to book a phone call with you. Make sure that there's a link to go and download that guide if they want to. And a lot of people won't do that, and then you can follow them up with emails and retargeting ads. But so that's what you have a small percentage that just want it now, and it's really urgent for them. And then most people you're going to have to use, for example, like Facebook retargeting plus email to bring them back to the various steps so they drop off.
Really cool. So do you want to talk to us quickly about how Facebook retargeting might complement an email autoresponder sequence?
Sure. So, I mean, it's really simple. Facebook retargeting, you're going to put a tracking code on your website. Now, anytime someone visits that, let's say you have a blog post, right? 10 simple steps to build a high converting website. Someone visits that blog, let's say 100 people visit that blog post. Now you've got 100 people in what Facebook calls your custom audience. Then you go back to Facebook and you set up a campaign that says, take these 100 people and now show them this ad for my landing page. And then you create an ad to make sure that, now you're advertising instead of 10 simple steps. You go, here's a fill in the blank website template with 5 pages that you can give to your designer and he can have up on your website in probably 3 hours. And I'll give you the template free. You've just got to sign up for your email address. So you've got a landing page like that. Then you advertise that to the 100 people who signed up, who viewed the blog post. And then let's say you get a 50% sign up rate, which would be really high. But then you can have 50 people who visited the thank you page and maybe even looked at the product or looked at the sort of the template, the fill in the blank template, website template that you gave them. And then you put them on a new campaign. Then you have a new custom audience in Facebook, which is 50 people who viewed, who signed up and viewed the campaign. Now you follow them up with a campaign that says, would you like to book a phone call with me to talk about how to actually set up a whole custom designed website that's based on our 23, our proven 23 step checklist for high converting websites and blah, blah, blah.
Right, so it's actually mirroring the journey that you're taking them on. So they're getting the emails, guiding them on this journey, and they're also having that mirrored or that message reinforced when they visit Facebook as well.
Correct.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, so John, you've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of email marketers on your podcast. What is your take on text emails versus HTML emails?
It's funny because if you asked me this like 2 years ago, I would have just said text all the way. But now after working with some online retailers and seeing how things are done in that sphere, it just depends on the business. If you're selling I'd say if you're selling a complex product like consulting, you're going to be better off with probably text and more copy. But if you're selling a physical product that, you don't really need to do much. There's not really as much copy involved in that. There's just like, do you actually want this? We'll go and buy it. Yeah, here's a discount. It's more about sending offers. And I'm not sure how much really nicely designed emails matter for conversions. I'm sure they help. I haven't done enough research yet to see how much it matters. And I haven't seen any studies either way that show, long copy working for an online retailer. Not yet. I'm sure there's some stuff out there. But yeah, I mean, the honest answer is it just depends on the business. If you're a consultant and you're trying to get clients, you're going to be better with long copy, like text-based emails, doing it that way, nurturing people, telling stories, giving them, lots of value because it's just a different sales process.
Sure, it's relationship selling more so than actual just making a decision on a $50 product or a book or something like that. Hey, how about your take on the frequency of email newsletters, daily versus weekly or monthly? What are some pros and cons, or what's your advice here?
I mean, again, it depends. It depends on, if you're selling mattresses that people buy once every 10 years, you're probably not going to get away with doing daily emails. And there's just not much point unless you've got all these sort of, other products or partners that, products from partners that you're selling. Yeah, I mean, once again, it depends. The guys that I know who, especially with information products, the guys I've spoken to, the companies I know, is the more emails they send, the more money they make. The challenge, though, is I think I don't know where the threshold is, like where there's sort of an inflection point where eventually, once you send that, maybe it's 3 emails a week or 4 emails a week, you're going to damage the long-term value of that database. So I don't know where that number is. And I don't know if, it's probably, once again, it's one of those things, it's going to vary from business to business. But unless, a lot of it depends who you're targeting. If you're targeting $2 million businesses, then whoever's in the CEOs of those businesses or the owner, you can't really be writing them long emails and daily emails. They don't really, just not going to have time for that. Whereas someone at the lower level, like someone who's learning how to write copy, my website, for example, they've got all the time in the world to read stories, and like to them, they eat that kind of stuff up. So it comes with understanding who you're trying to talk to, what their goals are. For a business owner, they just want a solution. You're going to need some benefits and some pain points, but you don't need long emails. You don't need to send them, an email every single day. They're just going to get sick of it. Send them a case study once every week or something like that. And then when they're ready, they're going to get on the phone with you and call you. So that was pretty unspecific. Does that help?
No, that's good. That's good because, it's such people grapple with this, and I have over the years too. And you sometimes think back to, I always think about email marketing or that's worked well with me, that people whose emails I look forward to opening and the people's whose emails that I take action and buy from. And it's varied, and it does depend entirely on that. So it makes total sense what you've said, because I think of if it's online education products, then there's emails that I get from Ramit Sethi, and he emails maybe every couple of days, and he tells these mainly text but with a couple of pictures thrown in, and the hilarious stories, conveys his personality, and they're very valuable. We've bought
emails are great.
They are great, hey. And then I think of other emails that I really look forward to getting, and one example is the Aquabumps email of Eugene Town, the Bondi photographer who gets up every morning and takes photographs of the surf or the beach, and he sends an email every single day. And the normal train of thought would be, a daily email is probably too much, but for him, for his actual audience, it's great because he positions it as your daily beach escape every day since 1997 or something like that. And if pure pictures, there's a little bit of writing in there, but it's a picture-based email. And it's always value add. There's always these beautiful pictures of icebergs or Bondi Beach or wherever he happens to be on holiday. And, you can actually buy each of those photographs. You can have them converted into a picture for your home or your office. So I think he must make some good sales from it. But each and every day there's this amazing picture-based email come into your inbox. And I think he must have now over 40 or 50,000 email subscribers. So it does go to show that it does depend on who's on your list and what they're in it for. So can we talk a little bit about tips for growing an email list? What have you come across as some good strategies, whether it's your own or guests from your podcast, but what are some good strategies for growing email lists?
The question is, I think one thing I've always struggled with when it comes to growing email lists is just growing an email list. Like, you sort of need a goal. Like, there needs to be a big, like a high level purpose than just growing the list. Because you're going to have to, you can go and really we're talking about traffic, right? The emails that you send out are the conversion step. So it's really a question of how do you get traffic? Because if you know how to convert them with a landing page, well, then you can just, that's pretty straight. You just need to get people to that page.
Sure.
So that's really, yeah. So, it's just like, sort of making things simple like this. But you can go and if you got time but not money, then things like guest posting. If, for example, I get a guest post that's going live on Shopify probably next week. It's promoting the new business. So, that'll be an example of there's going to be, obviously a landing page at the bottom of that where people can sign up for more information, and there's going to be leads that come out of that. If you've got money, but, you don't want to spend time, then it's just about buying traffic. As for where you get the traffic from, it just depends where your audience is hanging out. Facebook's got probably the biggest audience, so that can work for pretty much anyone. LinkedIn's B2B stuff. Twitter can work, YouTube can work, Pinterest. I think Pinterest has an ad platform now. Instagram's huge for some brands now as well. Like, it's just about finding out, like, where are your people hanging out? Where are the people who buy your products? Where are they hanging out online? And then go and run ads at them. And then all you really need, as far as, to get back to that top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, you just need to create, when you target someone who's never heard of you before with an ad, you're going to need to give them content. So this blog post with Shopify is going to hit people who've never heard of me for the most part. And then the next step for them will be to sign up for some sort of opt-in or lead bait. So, it's really just, traffic. What I would do probably for, to make it more specific, honestly, I'd go and check out some of the digital marketer resources. They have I've been recommending them to everyone, tons of resources on how to write the perfect ad, how to set up these campaigns, how to break down these funnels. And I would probably go on, if we're talking to marketing consultants, Facebook or LinkedIn. First thing you do is you advertise a blog post, then you advertise a landing page, then you advertise your call me or whatever your main call to action is. That's pretty much sort of all there is to it. And make sure that you're making money through those leads so then you can liquidate the cost of, if you're spending, say, $10 a lead, you want to know that you're, making a sale every 10 leads, for example, for at least $100.
Sure. And then the important part there, which I nearly interrupted you on, was that the whole point of driving people through a landing page. It's so important that, sometimes beginner listeners may not necessarily appreciate that it's a conscious action. It's a conscious part of your funnel or your system to have whatever traffic you have going to that landing page. And that's that part where they convert onto the email list. It's very rare for people to go down to the subscribe to our newsletter part in a footer of a website. That's not how people grow their email list. It's always, as you say, getting people to a landing page, whether it's through paid traffic, whether it's through a blog post, it's getting organic traffic through Google, but it's that landing page and that offer that you make on the landing page that is very much the key, because once that landing page converts, as you say, it's just a matter of traffic then. It's a matter of getting the right people onto that landing page, because a certain percentage are going to convert. And then, of course, you can then take them on that process of going from cold to warm to hot and having different offers and different content delivered to them at various stages of that buying process. John, that has been very interesting. Are there any other tips or pieces of advice or anything you want to get off your chest before we call that a day?
The main thing with this is people make this into a much bigger problem than it needs to be. It's just, like I said, to go to the original, it's just communication. And it's just using software to automate that and to, hit people at, so with the right email at the right time. That's all it really is. And the other thing to understand is email's one of the best, if not the best, customer acquisition channel for pretty much any industry. And there's stats and research to back this up, which you can find with some Googling. There's just no, there's no reason why you shouldn't, you shouldn't be doing it.
I totally agree. I always say, social media is sexy and gets all the headlines, and I get booked for lots of social media speaking events, but I'll always remind people that email marketing is where the action is. It's where the dollars are. It's a much deeper relationship with people than on social media or anything else. And it should be, I believe, as a marketing consultant and anyone who practices marketing, growing your email marketing, whether it's the list size or the conversion size or the conversion rates or the offers that you're making, really is such a critical part of a business that it should be a primary focus for all marketers.
Exactly.
John, where can listeners go to find out more about you?
Oh, it depends. There's a few places. Best place is either themcmethod.com. That's THEMCMETHOD.com. Or you can go to reengager.com. That's the new service, the new business for online retailers. You can have a poke around on that site if you want to see what I'm up to now. Or get me on Twitter, which is John McIntyre _.
Awesome, John. Well, we will put all of those details in the show notes. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. I love talking email marketing to a fellow Aussie, and mate, I have been enjoying your book and podcast for many years. So thank you for joining us on the show, and you have yourself a great evening.
Cheers, mate. It's been good.
And that's a wrap for our chat with John McIntyre, aka the Autoresponder guy, aka host of the McMethod podcast. As I said, I've followed him for a while and like what he's about. I'm also a big fan of email marketing. As you know, I send out the weekly Bluewire news, and at the moment it goes out to over 21,000 people. So any little tips or techniques or new things to try when it comes to email marketing, I'm all ears. What I really liked about John's chat then was the fact that you've got people at different levels of the buying journey. So you've got cold leads, you've got warm leads, and you've got hot leads. And they're going to require different information at different stages of that journey. Basically, if they're a cold lead, someone who doesn't really know you yet, then you need to deliver lots of content. And the short course format is one that I've actually really enjoyed being on the receiving end of many marketers. So delivering value-add educational-based content. Then when people are a bit warmer and they know what you're about, then you can deliver webinars. And then finally, when they're hot to trot, ready to buy, then simply that's when you can make offers and introduce people to your sales page and make it really easy for them to buy. Great insights there from John. I highly recommend you check out his book, podcast, and his website. So head over to iTunes. His podcast is called Email Marketing Podcast. If you head to Amazon, his book is called Email Marketing, and his website is themcmethod.com. To recap, this show was brought to you by mine and Toby's book called Web Marketing That Works, and you can get your hands on the 33 free marketing templates from the book if you head over to bluewiremedia.com.au/book. If you've got feedback, questions, anything like that, please drop me a line. I'm at adam.franklin@bluewiremedia.com.au, or send me a tweet at Franklin_Adam. If you enjoyed the show, and I hope you did, we'd love it if you could leave us a review on iTunes. So until next time, thank you, and we'll see you next time.